All right, so we're back.
We're in the studio. We got Yoshi. How you doing? Got it. I wish I got that on film. Did you film it?
Yeah, I was filming.
Did you film it?
Yeah. I tripped over some freaking Legos.
Welcome to our podcast studio, everyone.
Oh my goodness.
It's so good.
It's a junkyard.
Welcome to our junkyard.
This is our junkyard studio.
And we're back with another Go Beach Yourself podcast.
Episode number 3.
Episode number 3.
Today just happens to be our anniversary.
Yeah, crazy.
13 years?
13 years of me and you.
How do you feel about that?
It's been amazing. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, tell
I'm
me
gonna
all
cry.
about it.
No, I'm kidding. With any relationship, there's always ups and downs, and today I was like looking at photos and stuff of like before kids, while we had kids, and like after, and like there's definitely some like really cool chapters that I feel like we like. I don't know. You don't even know you're going through a cool chapter at the time, but it was just looking back, it will always like be in my memory.
Yeah.
I feel like, of course, when we first met each other, like that time and like getting to know each other, that was like so fun and so just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Cute.
It was cute, yeah.
Yeah, like I remember I was on tour at the time.
Mm-hmm, your booty called me.
He was still in the pro juniors. No, I'm kidding. I was turning.
No, I was phasing out.
Yeah, you were phasing out. I was on tour, like full on world tour.
Committed to the tour.
But I was like, I'm single for the first time.
You were single for like 3 months.
6 months.
6 months.
And this guy just, rocked my world. And we met in Bali. I'm sure we told this story a lot of times, but we met in Bali.
In the barrel.
Yeah, in the barrel. We hung out more like during the winter of 2012. Weren't fully together, but we were just hanging, getting to know each other. I introduced him to my older brother as a friend. And they kind of hit it off by watching basketball, so that was good.
Yeah.
And then after that, I told him not talk to me for 2 weeks because I was going through a mental breakdown.
Yeah, well, we should back up right there because we were speaking pretty consistently.
Yeah, he wanted to I think it was Skype at the time. And he wanted to talk to me, and I was like, wow, this is like...
Was it Skype? Oh yeah, because FaceTime wasn't a thing.
FaceTime wasn't a thing yet.
It was WhatsApp.
No, WhatsApp wasn't even a thing yet. It was Skype.
Are we Skyping?
Yeah, you want to Skype me? I was like, yeah, I'll Skype you.
Yes, Skype me.
Skype me.
I'll Skype you so hard.
Yeah, I know. He was just so nice. And like here in Hawaii, I know there are some really good guys here, but they're just there's a little bit more ego. It's a little bit more like, I don't know, like hard.
Aggressive.
Like not aggressive. I wouldn't say aggressive, just not like as friendly, like openly friendly, like, hey, let's like chat, I remember you would like hug your friends, and I'm like, I don't know if I ever have seen guys here hug their friends.
Really?
No, not back when I was growing up. I'm sure it's different now, but like Aussies are just more like comfortable, like they're like hugging each other, like telling each other how good they look. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked, but I just remember that being like, I was like, wow, this guy's like so nice. Like I've never met such a nice guy. But yeah, anyways, we had some times where I was like, don't talk to me. And we were apart. I was in Hawaii. He had to go back to Australia. But then when I got to Australia, it was on like Donkey Kong. And we literally did not leave each other's side. We didn't leave each other's side for like 3 months. Cause we both had contests, there. And then I was doing like the full world tour. He helped me make it to like the quarters in like 2 events, so it was like one of my better years of competing. And
I didn't really help you that much though.
No, you did. I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, it was just cool because
I think you did so well because you were so happy.
Yeah, we were definitely both in the middle of our career highs, I would say, and we had a lot going on. We were both doing photo shoots, we were traveling the world, we were traveling together sometimes to do contests. and then we were also like, you know, sometimes we were like months apart, which that was really hard, but we got through. Yeah, and I just feel like was just so many cool times of us like traveling together. And then I think a really special time was when we decided to have a baby together.
Yeah.
Because that was just like, I don't know, that was just so like, I don't know, just a cool time.
You're shaking.
Am I?
Yeah,
I think I had too much coffee.
Yeah, no, that you nailed it. I think
I think becoming parents together was really
yeah,
cool.
of course.
Yeah.
I think for any relationship, that's like such a big stepping stone.
For sure.
Not only for like individuals, but even for the relationship. I think it's a huge step.
Yes. Yeah, and I feel like having a kid tests your relationship more than anything you can do. And
Oh, we put our relationship to the test.
yeah, and then we traveled with
And then
our
we
first
moved,
kid.
like,
We
18 times.
Yeah, we did a lot. We did so much, and yeah, I'm just glad I did it with you. And I feel like one of my favorite times was traveling with Banks, and you were on tour, and I kind of stopped competing. It was more about you, and I was just kind of like the travel girlfriend.
Yeah, we had some good times. I
loved bringing Banks to the contest.
There was a few contests I was like, this is super. When we went to Mexico and you competed for the first time, remember?
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
So fun.
Yeah,
there was heaps of cool
Or
memories.
Bali I really liked
Bali
going
was
to
really
Bali.
cool.
And you won the air contest, the stab high.
Yeah, that was fun. France, that was cool.
Yep, and then
Heaps of good memories along the way.
I feel like, and then COVID came and we had Coda, and the tour really did change. Mm-hmm. And then it was kind of like you were like, I just don't think I can do this anymore.
Yeah, I feel like COVID definitely had a massive, I don't know what it was like for the end of when you decided not to do the tour, but.
Well, I got pregnant.
But yeah, there was a few. Hang on, no. So you stopped the tour, and then a few years later.
Oh yeah, I kind of just was
really
over competing, but I still like did contests.
Yeah.
I just was kind of like in and out. Had a few other things going on.
Yeah, well, COVID definitely, because at that stage the world was so vulnerable. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I really didn't like the position I was putting us in as a family. Mm-hmm. Because it was just, I felt like it was, countries were shutting down at the drop of a hat, and we were trying to travel. I'm like, this is horrible.
You didn't like being away from us too.
I didn't like. Yeah, it was hard. Like the being away from you guys, especially you were pregnant, so it was very hard for you. And Banks was 3, putting you guys through what you call it,
quarantine.
Yeah, quarantine. That sucked. That's something I definitely regret. And then also, yeah, just I felt like always putting us in a position of unknown. I did not like that.
Yeah.
And then
I also heard that when you have a baby, the guy, because they're like more like, you know, back in the tribal, I'm talking about the tribal era, like the guy, if he is with the woman when she has the baby, he gets a hit of oxytocin because there's a lot of hormones. It's a love hormone. He sees his own baby, and it actually lowers his testosterone for, you know, the time being, and it makes him not so aggressive and not want to like go out and do things as much. And it is kind of interesting that like once we had Banks and Coda, you were kind of like didn't want to compete as much because it is kind of an aggressive, you have to be like pretty into it. I'm not saying that has anything to do with it. I just heard that and I think it's interesting.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting concept. I think it was well, yeah, like surfing's such a selfish endeavor. So when you do decide to have a family, it changes the dynamic tenfold because all of a sudden, like and also depending on what kind of parent you want to be. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to be a super a very included parent. Like I want to be there for everything. So knowing all the milestones that would potentially be missed if I was to chase the tour again.
Definitely.
They're just things you'll never get back. Like I've listened to the, billionaires, trillionaires podcast, and the one thing that they're like, oh, I wish I was more around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never want to have that regret.
Yeah,
so
because you can't
get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, maybe in a few years, I highly doubt I'll go back or even compete again. But I don't regret stopping the world tour.
Yeah.
I don't regret it
It
at all.
definitely changed as well. Like I think, they condensed the tour more, and it would have meant like you were going to be gone for like months at a time, because when we were doing the tour, it was like kind of,
it was off and on, but I didn't like that because it was, as a competitor, it's so hard. Like, you're just constantly just having to flick the switch of going off, on, off, on, off, on. I would rather everything just like back to back. At least you can stay in like a competitive mode for the certain time, and then when it's off, you can just flick the switch completely off.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the fact of going, contest here, and then 3 weeks, another contest there, and then a contest here. Not to mention, it was getting incredibly expensive for like starting to travel, especially around the COVID time when I started to leave the tour. It was getting super expensive just to travel, accommodation. I was like, it doesn't feel like I'm getting, like, financially, I feel like everything's just getting put back into kind of surfing at the moment. That's kind of what it felt like. Because we were having to spend so much, especially when you do start to have a family, like, goes from paying for yourself to paying for paying for the family. And then all of a sudden there's 4 tickets and you're like, holy shit, and accommodation
Flying
and cars.
with 4 people is definitely a lot different.
It is.
Even when the ticket's $300, you're like, oh, cool. And then it ends up being like $1,000.
Yeah.
Because all the other expenses.
$1,200. Oh gosh, there we go.
Do you ever wish, or do you ever look back and be like, I want to try to requalify? And like, would you ever like try to do, the QS again and try to requalify? Was there ever that ever in your body?
I've seen a few events and I'm like, I would love to do that event.
Yeah.
But I've never been like, I just know the mental capacity you have to have in order to qualify. Because I was on the QS a lot. And I feel like I easily could requalify if I wanted to, but I don't want to put myself or you guys through that again.
Yep.
Meaning, when I put you guys through it, just meaning my absence. I just don't see it as a great investment.
Yeah. I kind of have the travel bug, so I'd come, be the girlfriend.
Yeah, maybe you have the travel bug, but I don't know if I have the financial bug. Or we have we got some things going on, so it'd be hard to...
Money's always flowing, baby.
Well, money's always...
I'm trying to be more into manifesting stuff, so we can't say.
I would look. Jack is more
of a
conservative.
realist. Yeah, I'm more of a dreamer.
I'm like, we got things, we got plans and stuff. If we got to a position in the next few years where we're comfortable, we don't have to rely on, outside investments and sponsors and whatnot. I'd be like, maybe we could go do an event here, see how it goes. But I don't know. That still doesn't really intrigue me.
No,
I would way rather be like, let's go on a family as a fun trip.
Yeah, I loved traveling, doing fun trips too. I loved going to Indo with the kids. I feel like that was really cool. But yeah, I feel like whenever we traveled with the kids or whenever we do, it's hectic, and Jack is more he remembers the hectic times where I'm like, this is hectic, but then when it's all done, I look back, I'm like, that was cool, and I don't remember any of the hectic times.
Yeah, I think it was hectic because I was trying to balance competing too.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to balance being selfish to better myself, but then also I'm like, this is it just kind of felt counterintuitive.
Yeah.
I'm like, the hecticness isn't adding up to doing this.
Yeah. How do you think that, have you talked to any of the other dads on tour that are still on tour? Do they struggle with that, or do you know if they're gone a lot from their families?
Yeah, I feel like the dads on tour have a really good foundation of support where they're from. Mm-hmm. So whether it's they've got live-in or pairs, or they've just got really tight family.
Yeah.
I think that would have helped us a lot in, I don't know, with competing and stuff. But there's not really... When I was on tour, 4 years ago now, so I feel like everyone who was a parent on tour has either stopped or the people that are still going, they're all like, oh, this is my last year. This is my last year.
Yeah, because I feel like the
I
only...
can't do this. I don't want to do this anymore. This is crazy. Because at that stage, it was...
I think the only dads that are on tour that were at the same time as you is like Philippe and Jordy are the last
Jordy,
left?
when I was leaving, Jordy just had a child.
Kid. Yeah.
So I can remember seeing him a few times, and he looked rough.
And then Philippe he had kids early.
He had super young.
But his family always like would travel with him, and it seemed like they like had a really good foundation. Not saying that we didn't have a good foundation, but I feel like if you have a family that could like take care of the kids, and I remember even seeing him and his wife Amanda like
go on a trip
together. I think that does make it easier.
Super impactful. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of depends on their personal life. Like, I'm not really too involved in a lot of the guys' personal life, so I don't really know the ins and outs of...
For sure. I think it will be cool to see, because, I mean, even, like, Jack Robinson, he just had a baby. I think it will be cool to see the next generation have, like, babies and stuff on tour. I mean, I guess, like, speaking of the tour, what do you think of, like, the new...
Good segue into the tour.
Yeah, gotta segue it because we're rambling.
Yeah, I think the new tour, I've gone in and out, like, just with the whole Super Bowl theme of the top 5. I've gone in and out. I've been like, oh, I don't like it, but I actually love it. It does create, like, a lot more...
suspense.
Yeah, suspense towards the end of the year. I did like the old system where, like, obviously whoever was leading and kind of... was the blatant winner of the year, won the world title. And
finishing at Pipe, I think, definitely made it pretty exciting. But then I think, dropping down to like the top 5, that makes it more suspenseful too.
Yeah, I think it has its pros and cons. Yeah. Like if you were John last year and you clearly won the whole year.
Did he win last year?
Yeah, he won the world title.
Yeah, okay.
But if you were John and you had demolished the whole year and got into the top 5 and then lost the world title, you'd be extremely bummed. So that's where it has its cons, where it's like kind of the winner of the year doesn't necessarily win the world title. Mm-hmm. But in saying that, it does make it so much, the final 5 makes it so much more suspenseful.
Yeah.
Because you want to see, to me personally, and how I view it is like, I want to see the world title decided in the water. It was always, especially when Kelly was so dominant, it was get pretty boring because he'd win the world title like 3 events before Pipe.
That is true.
So then you've got 3 events where it's like, oh, well,
yeah, and
the
I
world
think
title's already won, so it's just like a fight for second place.
Yeah, and I think people forget that because I know a lot of people like, hassle the WSL and like, this is a joke, it should finish at, Pipe because it's the most critical wave, and it just adds that like, craziness to it. But like you said, it's like, sometimes they win the world title three events before, or there's been years where Pipe's been 2 feet and it's not that sick. Yeah. So it can happen, both ways, where like, I guess Trussell's isn't good and that happens, or Pipe's not good. So I mean, it's just like, you just never know with surfing. I think I think people forget that. They just think of Pipe being like crazy and good all the time, but it's actually not.
What do you think about it?
I think, like, looking back at when I was on tour compared to now,
it's changed so much.
It's changed so much. I mean, I was on tour very young. I got on tour at like 18, kind of like when was Rochelle Ballard on tour? No, like Lane Beachley was still on tour
when you're on tour.
I was on tour. That's how old I am. Not saying
I don't think that's you're old. I think you're just
yeah, I guess I was young. Yeah, but gosh, I don't know. It's hard to say because like I don't really like. Yeah, I mean, I talked to some of the girls. Tati lives on the same island as me and Gabby, and I do chat to them. And I know Tati is at that point where she's like, she's not burnt out or anything, but she's like, it's a lot like. I know her and Jesse, who just got married a few years ago, they want to have kids at one point, but it's hard because like, if you get pregnant, you can't really compete after, a certain amount of time. So I don't know. It's hard to say like which one I would prefer, but I know they do love like they have that pretty big break after. If you're doing good, like if you're in the top 5, you have a break pretty much from September until January. But if you're not, like how I kind of was, I never was really in the top 5. I would have to compete all year, do the tour, and then do the QS. So I would be never ending. It would be exhausting. So I think I would prefer how it was. I think there was like a little bit more leeway of like, you could still do some trips, you could still come home and chill in between events and stuff. So yeah, I do still think it's like pretty intense what they have to do.
I agree. I don't think it'll ever not be intense.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And I think they're just trying to, I mean, from what I've seen from like the last 15 years is the tour has changed a lot. Like it's changed multiple times. This isn't the first dramatic change. I think they'll keep changing things and hopefully it'll end up in a place where it's, you know, as good as it can be. I think it's just natural evolution, just trying to find something until it's good. I do like this format. The one thing that's always I always get asked about is the cut after the first few events. I'm like, oh, it's such a hard question because I never had to deal with the cut.
It would
I
be
can remember
so
when they were bringing
stressful.
it would be so stressful. Those first few events, like all the top guys who did not good in the first event, like that instantly goes into your mind. You're like,
Well, and if you just qualified that year, you're like, you know, I remember when I first qualified, I'm sure you like remember when you first qualified, you're so excited and you're like, cool, we get this whole year to compete.
and those first few months now go so fast.
But for the new tour,
they don't get that.
they don't get that. They're like, I have to do good to stay on tour. Like it's
for the
not
whole
like
year.
for the whole year. Otherwise, I'm gonna get like 5. They get like 5 contests and then they're off.
Yep.
So that would add so much stress. I feel like I agree. Yeah.
At least the good thing about it is they're all in the same boat. So everyone's in that feeling that pressure. I think it's when I was on tour, I was like, no, it sounds like the worst thing ever because it was so new and it was such like I think they tried to do this a 6-month cutoff years and years and years ago and it just did not work. But I think it works now because of the top 5.
There's so much more talent.
Yeah, and then also the back half of the year is all events are pretty short. You probably get the most exciting surfing because everyone's a little bit more carefree, especially the guys who are on like the bottom side of the draws now or the rankings. Like they're kind of just going for broke now because they've just got a safety net. We're on tour. We're going to try and just do our best surfing. So I think it does create really good surfing. And then also, you know, the top 5 picture, I think it's pretty cool. Everyone surfs really hard to get into the top 5. Speaking of the top 5, so we're one event removed after pipe right now.
Yep.
you
What?
need another coffee.
Yeah. No, I don't.
So speaking of the top 5, who is your top 5 picks for this year, 2025?
For the guys and girls?
For the guys and girls.
Are we ending on this?
We can end on this, yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, you can go first.
So I've said this, like, I said this last year. I called this. I said Katie Simmer is going to
You did. I can remember. I'll vouch for that.
And you didn't think so.
Did I not?
No.
I thought she would.
No. You did not. You were like...
Who did I say?
I think you said Tati or something, which Tati has come close so many times.
Yeah.
And I do think it's in there.
Oh, she was coming off a second.
I think she's gotten second or third the last few years.
Few years, yeah.
So I feel like it's in there first. She's so good. But I do think Katie, there's just something about her. She's got
that aura.
I feel like she's got that aura. She's got like the style. She charges. She's younger, so she's got like probably the stamina, the hungriness that you kind of need. And I feel like she's really got the attitude behind it too. Like she seems really calm.
Carefree surfing in a rash guard.
Little bit more carefree, but at the same time really like thought out. Like I feel like she seems really like casual, but I think she really is like probably extremely smart and
Yeah.
knows how to compete really well.
Okay, so let's go top 5 for the women's.
So yeah, it's Katie, and then I'm calling Molly. I feel like she's been ripping. She did the craziest turn at Sunset last year. And then Tati, I gotta have Tati and Gabby. They're my Kauai girls. And then I'm also gonna have Barissa because she's from Oahu, so she's Hawaii. And I just think her turns are ginormous.
Yeah.
Like her and Gabby are like on par with like how big their turns are.
Okay, that's a solid top 5. Okay, what about the men's?
Men's, I kind of have like a little bit of a harder time. I'm just more invested in the girls. But I will say Italo, I feel like we're going to see like a big comeback with, or did he win the world title?
No, he's been second the last few
Yeah,
years.
like I feel like it's in there. Like I really do. You know?
That's a good pick.
He's kind of
Keep
got
going.
that.
You got 4 more.
Okay, you want me to hurry up? I get it. And then we got Ethan. I love Ethan's style. He's got the best style ever. Philippe, he just came off like a year break, so I feel like he's feeling a little fresh. Jack, he always does really well in all like the crazy barrel waves, and I feel like we do have a lot of those, this year. And then my last one was Griffin, because I feel like he's just a really good all-around surfer.
Yeah, that's a really strong top 5.
Yeah, and we're gonna take a
women's.
picture of this, and we'll see if we get it right.
Yeah. Okay. My top 5 for the men's is going to be Philippe, Ethan, Griffin, Italo, and George Patel. I'm throwing a random.
Oh, I don't even know him.
He's an Australian kid.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he just did really good in the first event.
Oh my
I
gosh.
think he's kind of like my dark horse for the top 5. I reckon there's a lot of events coming up that really suit his surfing, and I think just off his last year performances as wild card, I think this dude has all the tools to take it to the top 5.
Where in Aussie is he from?
I want to say Newcastle. I'm not too sure.
Oh, cool.
But he's a really good surfer. I've seen him just come through the ranks, and I was like, whoa, this dude's really good.
That's cool.
So that's my top 5 for the men's. For the women's is Katie Simmers, Tyler Wright, Tatiana Weston Webb, Erin Brooks, and Molly Picklum. That's my top 5 for the women's.
Cool.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to be right, hard to be wrong. I don't know. I feel like it's. I don't know. Especially on the men's side of things, I feel like it's going to be a lot different now that Gabe and John are not.
It will be.
And then also the top 5 goes to Fiji this year, not Trestles.
Oh, they're ending at Fiji?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, Cloudbreak.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
I did not factor that into the
Oh,
top 5.
wow. I did not know. I don't think that's true.
No, it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Might have
It's
to
either this year or
switch.
next year, but I'm pretty sure it's this year.
Actually,
I
I have
think-
it pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
I think that's good. I think the top 5 over in Fiji will be a lot different to Trestles, though.
Definitely.
But in saying that, that's our picks for the top 5, and that's our
Let us
podcast.
know what you guys think, like what your guys' top 5 of the girls and boys are, because I want to see what you guys think.
Yeah. No wrong answers.
Yep. And then we'll look, like we can all look back once it finishes.
Well, that's it. Hope you guys liked that episode.
Yeah, a little bit more surfy,
Yeah.
derpy.
We thought we should definitely kind of adapt more surfing into it, seeing as we're
We are
surfers.
surfers. I know. We are.
That's it.
That's what we do. Okay, let's talk to you guys later.